I'm the co-founder of Valeo Health, and it's an honor to be here. Today we're going to be talking about peptides. Now, if we looked at it 12 months ago, I think half of the room here would not know what peptides are. Actually, insulin is a peptide. GLP-1 is a peptide. But today we're going to dive deeper into it and understand why did it get suddenly popular and what are they. I have with me Noah Laith, who is the lead practitioner or longevity architect, who is also a dear friend that I trust for every health and wellness questions. Dr. Mahmoud, our medical manager in Valeo Health. I've been working with him for 3 years. It's been a joy. And he was the designer of our GLP-1 program. So today we're going to see, are peptides just a hype or actually the solution to all? So, Dr. Mahmoud, the first question goes to you. Why did peptides go from a niche science to mainstream suddenly?
I think one of the most important things that made that possible is GLP-1s, right? Getting GLP-1s for weight loss receptors agonist, that made it easier, I think, as an opening, a door opening for peptides to do that to work. And of course, we have also social media who help also show these things even more and the potential of this kind of therapy. You need something to give that push, and since peptides have been there since the early 1900s, you just need that kind of push to show people that it has the potential to help.
And Noah, why do you think peptides, why is supplements not anymore enough for people? Why are we now looking at peptides? What has changed in people's mindsets? I think, is the mic not working, but well.
Test. Hello, test. So, just louder. So first, you have to understand that 21st century problems need 21st century solutions. And the second thing that you need to understand is that peptides, as Dr. Mahmoud said, they are not new. They exist more than 102 years. Insulin was the first one, right? And 50 years ago already, peptides were being used for oncology, for immunology, for repair. The Russians are the most experts in it. So that's why I go every year to Russia to study what are the new technologies. Now, in the Western world, if you look at whenever you go to your doctor, and many of our patients, they come to say, oh, but my doctor told me, watch out, it's just a new phase, it's a new thing. I tell them, that's not true. That's maybe in the Western world. There are only 12 studies, right, in the Western world about peptides. So whenever someone says, a doctor come to me and says, no, but there is not enough studies, I said, yes, in the Western world, only 12 studies. But in Russia, we have 41,000 clinical and medical studies. So whoever tells you, oh, this is something new, tell him, do first your research. They're not new, and they've been amazing. I don't know if I answered your questions.
Yes, you definitely did. Noah, you have one of these gifts. You can take a complex subject and simplify it. If you can maybe define what are peptides today to our audience.
Yes, definitely. So you have to think like this. Nutrients, vitamins, minerals, they are the building blocks of your body. Peptides don't build anything. Peptides are just messengers. You already have in your body 250,000 peptides, right? And the reason why you look at a child that is 7, 8, 9, 10 years and you think, where the heck did they get that energy from? It's because they have more potent peptides and more bioavailable peptides. But they have the same type of peptides than you. And as you age, the amount of peptides and the potency of the peptides diminish by environmental toxins, by lifestyle, by the wrong nutrition, by our soil that's not enough nutrition in it. So you cannot do anti-aging well without peptides, right? So what do they do actually? Peptides, they are just messengers. They tell your body to do a specific thing. Repair faster, boost your growth hormone production faster, digest better. So they are, and that's when you age, that messaging gets clogged, let's say. So when you take peptides exogenously, it repairs that messaging. And that's why when we get patients that if they are just on a nutrition and lifestyle healing process, it will take them 9 months. While if top athletes come to us, or just someone that's don't have 9 months to heal, it will take 3 months, depends on the protocol. So it accelerates what life took away from you. That's kind of a simplification.
Okay, I like that. What life took away from them, or your lifestyle took away. Dr. Mahmoud, so would we say peptides are all the same? Are GLP-1, insulin the same as BP157, or are there different type of peptides?
As Noah mentioned, it's mainly the same, under the same umbrella, right? But the main function is different, I think. You know, for insulin, I would say it's more of a hormone-like peptide, right? And it acts as the key, let's say, for the. But for the mic is cutting off. But for the other peptides like GLP-1s, if I want to, let's say, put it close to something, I would say it's like the doorbell. It's the signaling part, where it just waits for the cell to approve its presence. But for other peptides like PPC157, TB500, those are the main actors there, where they just impose themselves to properly make the cell work. They are under the same umbrella, of course, but I think it's different functionalities more than different than each other, sorry.
And so is it the answer to all? So does it mean we're never going to feel tired anymore, no more joint pain, no more fat, that's it?
That's the wish, of course. That's everyone's hoping for. But unless you're doing the right thing with it, it's not a magic potion. If you're not doing the lifestyle, if you're not improving your lifestyle, if you're not changing your behavior, it's not going to happen. It's not going to change anything. And also, like Noah said, if someone is an athlete, it's going to make a difference in 3 months, 2 months tops. If someone is just starting a new diet, improving their lifestyle, it's going to take 9 months. If someone's not doing anything, like he talked about it downstairs, you know, someone has celiac and using peptides to heal, and they are still eating gluten, it's not going to happen. You will feel better, but it's not going to improve much. But it really depends on you as a person who are using those peptides. If you use it right, they definitely can help.
And Noah, where are people getting it wrong when it comes to peptides?
Thank you. So yeah, that's a very good question actually, and a very dangerous answer also. And the reason is because you have to think like this. There are 7,200 peptides that are being produced at this moment, right? We are a producer of peptides also. It's a GMP pharma-grade peptides. You definitely don't want to buy for research purposes only peptides. I have a dog. I don't inject my dog with research purpose only peptides. I inject pharma-grade peptides. And even within the pharma-grade peptides, there are 3 types of peptides. There are the chemically synthesized, there is the biologically synthesized, which is from yeast, and there is the organ-derived peptides, which is only, unfortunately, created in Russia. The third one is where it is synthesized from organs of animals, right? It's very, very potent, it's very unstable, and we only prescribe it for people who have cancer because it's extremely potent. So to answer your questions more specifically, why do you don't want to buy just from online without doctor prescription? Actually for 3 reasons. Number 1, if it's not pharma grade, it misses the filtration systems and the SOPs of a pharma grade company. And that's why when you buy from research purpose only website, it gives you a purity COA, certificate of analytics, right? But the purity doesn't say anything. You have also a stability test, and stability tests are very expensive, and that's why research purpose only companies don't do them. So you definitely want to do a stability test and a toxicity test and an endotoxicity test, which again, pharma grade companies are obliged to do. Because if something is not stable, it's not active, you're just injecting very expensive saline water, right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, peptides are like money. They magnify who you are. If you are a nice person, you'll be kinder. If you're an asshole, you'll be a bigger asshole, right? So that's how peptides are. If you do, as Dr. Mahmoud said, if you do the foundation, the lifestyle, the sleep, the fundamental elements, the heavy metal chelation, then suddenly peptides are amazing. And that's why we get
people and patients that come to us and says, yeah, I did peptides, and to be honest with you, I didn't feel anything. Yes, that's because your body had so much inflammation that instead of making you grow, they were just repairing the things that you didn't even know that needed repair. So having not only the peptides, but having also the right protocol and the right medical team that understands how to test you even. You know, you cannot manage what you cannot test, right? That's why I love working with Valeo, because they understand how to test. So you do want first to test, have a doctor, have the right protocol and the foundation elements, and then peptides are really magic bullets. Did I answer that? Yes?
Completely
Thank you.
agree.
And who should be considering peptides? Is it, for the athletes, top performers, or is it for, let's say, women that have hormonal imbalance? Is it people that have obesity? Who should be considering it? Or everyone should be on it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I get a lot of people, and they come to me and they are like 40, 45. They said, you know what, I still feel okay. I don't want to start now already with peptides. But it's like having $1 million on your bank account. They said, you know what, I still have enough money. I'm not ready yet to invest. If you like it or not, inflation is happening. If you like it or not, aging is happening. So you want to start the anti-aging process, the anti-inflammatory process, the repair process as easy as possible. So the decline is also delayed, right? And I give it to top athletes that are 18, and I give it also to my mother who's 80, right? And everyone in between. Even my wife, after she gave birth, the first thing we do, okay, let's repair that body as fast as possible. If you're perimenopausal, if you're menopausal, if you're postmenopausal, if a man you're andropausal, if you are on hormone restoration therapy, peptides will just boost the whole full spectrum experience, right? From brain fog to injury repair, from gut. Everyone has a gut issue, right? From digestion, from healing the walls of your intestines, from libido, from erections, like you name it, and there is a peptide for it. And my advice to you is how you plan your finances once, twice, 3 times per year, you should also plan and invest in your health. And not having an investment strategy is also an investment strategy. A bad one, but it's also one.
Yeah.
And Dr. Mahmoud, from a medical standpoint, who should not be taking peptides?
To be honest, it's a vague area so far when it comes to who should not be taking peptides. Like, one of the main things said is testing, always checking with a practitioner or someone who understands how they work before you start this journey. At least you can understand what happened to your body, what kind of effect would that have on you. There are several contraindications or main contraindications like pregnancy, breastfeeding, these kinds of things. I read that there's a lot of talk about how people who have history of cancer, people who have family history of cancer should not be using peptides. But I don't think it's applied to everything, right? And because, again, if we look at GLP-1s, it was said that it should not be used for someone who has family history of thyroid, medullary thyroid carcinoma or MEN2. But that was only proved in mice. It wasn't proved in humans or human studies. But again, it's a broad term when you say that, this is contraindicated in these people. But again, as Noah said, if you want to use them, you have to start right, you have to know your goals, set your goals, and you have to do the right thing about your body, the lifestyle changes.
So the dosing also is important, right? What are the...
Yeah, definitely. The protocols, it's not one size fits all. And that's the beauty of peptides. If we go into, if it went into medical, the medical side, it's gonna have protocols, it's gonna have guidelines. It's not gonna be individualized or personalized as per someone's needs. But in peptides, no. We do have to study the person's needs, what their body is like, what their lifestyle is, what their behavior is, so that we can understand at least how we can manage this kind of treatment for them. If you look at it from the GLP point of view, for example, there's a lot of doctors now who started using GLP-1 for diabetes type 2, like specifically for diabetes type 2, and they are microdosing on these GLP-1s, but in other no, microdosing is not approved. but we see that it can give some kind of better results, let's say. Same, I think, goes for peptides. I have people who use BPC 157. According to guidelines or protocols, general protocols, it should be taken once daily, like for a whole month, let's say. I have seen people who use it 3 times a week, people using it 5 times a week, people using it 2 days on, 5 days off. And they all mentioned that, okay, I feel better. But again, it really depends on how their body is functioning, right?
So it's really personalized. And this leads to my next questions. Are peptides actually accepted in the clinical world?
That's a tough one.
As a GP, what do you think?
I'm not your typical GP. It really depends. How open-minded are you as a doctor, as a conventional doctor? The kind of medicine that for them, for doctors, for the medical world, that is not based on the West world's point of view, that's not. And there's a lot of peptides, or other than peptides, other supplements even, not just by Russia, the Soviet Union. There were studies on certain things back in Egypt on peptides, but of course, the medical world kind of disregard those and focuses on the West world kind of medicine. You have to be open-minded. Even if you see the results, most of doctors also tell you, no, they don't work. They are not regulated. They're FDA approved. Why am I basing my judgment on FDA guidelines, which, yeah, I'm not going to talk about conspiracy theories now.
I mean, as you can see, the FDA guidelines for food nutrition completely changed.
Exactly. But you can't trust that, but we always hope for that medical, let's say, people start believing in these kinds of integrated kind of healthcare.
Noah, do you think it's because of lack of data, lack of regulation, that there's a bit of sensitivity around it in the clinical world?
Yeah, I think it's I think the reason why we don't have enough doctors prescribing or educating about peptides is for one very simple reason. How many hours do you think that the doctor in med school get educated about nutrition? 0. How much about strength training? 0. How much about peptides? 0. So it's a medical school problem. It's not a doctor problem, right? So and we have 17 medical doctors. The first thing that we do to them, and that's why we love young doctors and not older doctors, is untrain them before training them. Because they need to be educated about what actually works outside the FDA. The FDA protocols are 20 to 25 years old on hormonal, on health, on food, on nutrition, on strength, and on peptides, on stem cells, on exosomes. So you have to look at the body and a holistic thing. Things like sensitivity of your receptors. And that's why Dr. Mahmoud says, like, I can give you BPC 157 or any other peptides or any other hormones, and it might work amazing to you and not so amazing to your twin brother, because your receptor sensitivity is less. And that's why dosage, you cannot go to a doctor and he prescribes you something and he tells you, okay, call me in 3 months. No, it's call me in 3 days. Call me and again in 10 days, and then in 15 days. And in 20, is your body reacting, or do we need to up the dose or down-regulate the dose?
Very nice. So last question to both of you, and maybe we'll have some time for Q&A. If you take one persona, or if you would like to take one persona and mention what would be, let's say, the best combination of peptides or the best peptide for them.
Yeah, that's a very tricky question. So the thing is, like, I don't like, a lot of people always ask me, so what is the peptide I should take? Well, it's always based on 3 variables. If you're interested to take peptides, you think, okay, I am convinced, I'm ready, I did my research, which peptide should I take? It's based on 3 variables. Number 1, your blood work. Number 2, your symptoms. And number 3, your goals. Right? If you're 18 and have symptoms and your blood work is a problem, it's going to be a total different protocol than if you're 81. So yes, as I told you, the usual suspect that you see online There are 7,200. Most of what's online is only the small part of what you see what actually exists. And there are amazing peptides. You know, we are now healing diabetes type 1 in Korea, you know, in a clinical trial. Diabetes type 1 with just peptides. It's amazing. Most people don't know about it, right? So it's always based on these three variables.
And I would completely agree with Noah. it's for certain peptides, yeah, it would be easy. And for me, GLP-1, which is my most area of expertise, GLP-1 receptor agonist, it's easy because you know who the people you want them to use. For example, obese, morbidly obese, overweight, hormonal imbalances, things like that. But for peptides, the first thing I ask people who ask me about it, you know, why do you need it for? Yeah, I'm interested. That's fine, but for what? What's your
Don't inject
goal?
yourself because you're interested only. What's the goal?
Exactly. Once they start talking, you know, okay, even when they say inflammation, for example, inflammation is a broad term, a really broad term. And you have people saying, oh, I am inflamed. How? How did you know? What's happening? Is there something specific that's happening? This is how you know you can target something. Peptides, they are targeting targeted treatment. They're not general treatment. You can't just take PBC because I feel inflammation. There is an inflammation. No, you have to focus on the target. That's why personalization is there, right? That's why certain protocols are there. It is a tough question. But once you are interested, you need to know, you need to set your goals and you need to set realistic goals also.
Can we take some questions? Is there any questions from the audience? Yes. I think, Noah, you can, the source of the peptide and how it is, you know, is it bioidentical? How can you look, and how can you choose, I guess, the source too?
So this is actually a very good question that I would also like to extrapolate to supplements. Because we get a lot of patients that says, oh, I want to use only natural stuff. Okay, natural stuff, if it doesn't grow on a tree or on a plant or from an animal, is not natural. If it's synthesized in a lab, is not natural, including supplements. That the world decided to call it natural doesn't make it natural, right? Same for peptides. Peptides are not natural, right? They're bioidentical to the molecules in your body, but still doesn't make them natural. So yes, peptides are bioidentical, and there are synthetic peptides, right, which we are using only on mice and on research, but the peptides that we are using and that I advise you to use are only bioidentical. That applies also, by the way, for hormones. And for supplements and for stem cells, you always want to use bioidentical compounds. Why? Because the molecule exists and the structure of the molecule is 20 to 40% equal to your receptors if it's not bioidentical. And if it's bioidentical, it's 100%. So your body think, hey, I know this. It's 100 compatible with your receptors.
Do we have one more question? Yes?
Retatrutide, yeah. It's till now it's in phase 3 clinical trials, phase 3 for retatrutide. It's GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. Theoretically it works better than other GLP-1s. Till now, of course, we don't know the effect because we don't have enough studies around it so far. Almost anyone I saw use retatrutide or used retatrutide a while back, since it started showing up in social media, they said it doesn't work, it's not as good as other GLP-1s like Mounjaro, Wegovy. But again, like Noah said, most of the ones that are available in the market are research-based. So that's a completely different story. I'm one of the people who, when I see it, I would know the efficacy, understand the efficiency of it. But as far as I can tell, it's still an open-ended question, yeah.
So, one more question. I don't know if we have time. Yes, let's go.
What is the difference when you take them as an injection and then for supplementation?
Yes. That's actually a very good question. There are only 3 peptides that you can take orally. It's BPC-157, KPV, and cerebrosin. All the rest of the peptides, if you buy them and you still take them orally, it's just very expensive urine. I don't advise because it doesn't bypass the gastric acid. So that's why everything isn't injectable or nasal. Some are nasal, also works very well. Like anything that's for the brain, like CMAX, C-Lanx, oxytocin, are amazing for the brain. But the rest is all injectable.
I have a question. With peptides, the oral ones, they're also the research-based and pharma-grade, right? This is also something that people need to understand, because most of the oral peptides out there are research-based, for research purposes only. And the same thing, the same effect, trust your source, or does it matter?
So your question is,
Just so I understand the question well. So you're saying, are the peptides that are for nasal?
No, the oral ones.
All
The oral
peptides?
Yeah. Are there the same thing when it comes to research purposes or pharma grade? Does it make a difference for oral?
No, huge difference. Yeah, like I will not touch for research purpose only peptides, because you have to think like this. As I said, they are messengers, right? And sometimes they can do a message and it change your DNA, and it's a permanent change. It's not, oh, I just used it for 1 week and now I'm going to stop because I discovered it's not clean. No, it has a permanent change to your DNA. So you definitely don't want to use it. And I'm not going to gamble for $100 extra.
Great. Thank you.
Would peptides work on lifestyle diseases? Even if somebody is healthy, exercises, eats well, but has blood pressure. Now that would be cortisol or whatever, but would they work on that or heart health?
So metabolic diseases, yes.
Everything, right?
So what she's saying, she's asking is if someone is healthy, right, totally healthy, but still have some excellent health, and still have some high cortisol or blood pressure or high cholesterol. Well, if someone is perfectly healthy, he don't have high cholesterol or
Lifestyle-wise.
and still they have high cholesterol? High blood pressure, yeah. Yeah, so in our practice, the most dangerous sentence, what we call the danger in health, and because 18% of our patients are doctors and biohackers and top athletes, which have whole teams around them to optimize their health. And they still come to us and say, no, I'm already quite healthy. I just need peptides, right? I just need stem cells. I just need hormone optimization. And we go and dive into their lifestyle, and it's a huge misconception what today is healthy, because they wake up in the morning, they have their breakfast, it's yogurt with berries and oats, and they think that's healthy, right? So the first thing is to go one step higher on a meta level and understand what means healthy, because if you have high cholesterol, if you have high blood pressure, something is triggering that, right? So I always want to work first on the foundation, and yes, add peptides to speed up that process. So instead of healing it in a couple of months, you'll definitely feel it in a couple of weeks. And we have, yes, unfortunately, we do have some patients, they said, look, just fix me, I'm not gonna change anything. And yeah, then peptides will help, 20, 30%, but not 100%.
As you see, the peptides are, no, last question. They didn't tell me to leave yet, so it's okay. Go ahead.
Are there any adverse effects of peptides?
Any side effects for peptides? Maybe Dr. Mahmoud?
Of course, as anything else, they have side effects, but it's not major side effects. Most common side effects are nausea, digestive issues. Again, it's not that common. Other than that, no. And for GLP-1s, there are side effects, of course, that have been mentioned by the FDA and the recent study, which are mostly also GI, gastrointestinal side effects. Again, starting with nausea, diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, also in some cases, acute pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas, gallbladder stones, which can lead also to acute pancreatitis. There are also theories on how it can cause ischemic colitis. But again, it really depends, are you the right person to use those? Are you doing the lifestyle changes when you're doing that? It's not just about, for weight loss, for example, it's not just about taking the medication to lose weight. Again, it's not a magic pill, it's not a magic potion. It's about changing your whole behavior. Something led you to becoming overweight. So you have to change the whole behavior, not just the diet. I'm eating less, fine. How fast are you eating? Are you even chewing your food? Or are you just swallowing it? With the GLP-1s, you have slower gastric emptying, which means your stomach is not as active as it should be. So you have to chew your food very slowly to make it easier for your stomach to digest that food and empty it in a bit normal way. But if you do it fast, you're going to have nausea, you're going to have the constipation, you're going to have these kinds of issues. Also, the abuse of the medication. People starting on really high doses just because they want to lose weight really fast. That's one of the most common causes of gallbladder stones, because your body is shedding fat too fast. Your liver is not being able to digest or break down that fat. So it reduces bile, which of course changes into stones, into the gallbladder, which might migrate to the duct, leading to acute pancreatitis. It's all about how you are using the medication or the peptide in the first place. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mahmoud. Today we learned that peptides are not a magic pill, but a strong tool. And I think you need definitely the right practitioner to speak to guide you through it, because it is very personalized. You can see us, we're in the Valeo booth. Dr. Mahmoud can take your questions. Noah is in the Longevity Hub booth. We work also a lot together. We have a retreat tomorrow. Actually, we have a couple of tickets left that is focused on peptides, and we will be doing an ice bath in a very nice location. So if you are interested, please come to one of our booths and we'll book your ticket. Thank you very much, everybody.